What a game! What a win, man! This was probably one of our most complete games as a team, as a whole. Offensively, they just looked good. What a great call game! Usually I call them out, Brian Callahan and Zach Taylor, but I have no call outs today. They did a good job. Once we look at the stats, I'll show you everything they did. But I mean, just a well called game. That drive when they scored, San Fran scored in 5 minutes. They went right back down the field and put points on the board, killed some clock. That was excellent way to perform. And just, your defense been helping carry you in some of the games so far this season, just to be able to, put those drives together and really soak the game. The offense really performed tonight. And I was thoroughly impressed, but we're going to look a little bit at some specifics. Now, I ain't going to lie to y'all. This was Burrow's best game of the year, bro. I'm not going to lie. 4 incompletions, 283 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He just looked so surgical in knowing what he wanted to do with the football. And he's coming to the line. Like, that is what Burrow's known for: his accuracy, his ability to read defenses, his ability to make big plays, and just get the ball to the best players on the field. He did that today, man. He was efficient. This was Burrow's best game the whole year. I definitely give him an A. I mean, this is not no easy defense we're talking about. Despite them being in kind of a skid, San Fran is a Super Bowl contender. And you're going, like Tony Romo said, you're going to face adversity throughout the year. Unfortunately, it's just right there for them. They're probably going to get it together, get back right. They got a bye week coming up, so they're going to be even better when they come out. 5-3, they're going to get healthy. Trent Williams will be back. Debo will probably be back. His team is going to be much, much, much better. But he was absolutely surgical. And the runs he had in this game, just keeping the plays alive. Obviously, you want to see him slide a little bit more, but just his mobility was a lot better. Now, regardless, you look at this game, like, oh, the offensive line gave up 3 sacks. But I thought they held up throughout most of the day. This is an elite defensive line, right? Elite front seven. Nick Bosa, right? Teron Armstead, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner. These guys are elite, man. And Burrow absolutely performed. I got to give some love to my boy Chase, man. 10 catches, 100 yards, touchdown. It just came in the flow of the offense. And like I said, it goes back to my other point of just how well called of a game this was by Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan, because they just were motioning him over, and the 49ers were putting their best player on him as far as their defense, Fred Warner. That's a tough cover even for how elite he is as a player. That's still tough to guard one of the better weapons in the league in Jamar Chase. So that opens up opportunities for T. Higgins, who had his best game pretty much all year, besides week 1. Week 2, I'm sorry, when he just, absolutely went off and had 2 touchdowns. But this was one of his better games. He's catching the ball, going in stride, making big plays. Tyler Boyd had his touchdown. He was open in the slot all day, making big plays, making big catches. So, just a well called game from both of them. And our weapons look good. And we finally ran the ball with Joe Mixon. You don't see it here, but he finished with 16 carries, 87 yards. I don't expect it to be a 50-50 balance with run the pass, but it was better, right? They were going under the center, right? They was using that to do play action. They was using motions. Like, that's an elite performance, and you don't get much better than that. Now, I got to be honest, when you look at this stat here, 4 catches, 25 yards for Irv Smith. This is what I'll be saying. This is my only critique of the whole game. This is why you go get a tight end in the draft, like a Sam Laporta, a Dalton Kincaid. You go get these guys. You know what I'm saying? Michael Mayer. Because you're going to have them for a 4 to 5 year contract and not have to pay them a lot of money. He's not the answer, respectfully. We should have won this game. Probably we should have been up 24-10 at halftime, right? Or even up by 2 scores, right? Because we threw a screen. We should have just handed the ball to Mixon, let him do his thing in the hole and score. But he fumbles the ball. Like, that could have absolutely changed the whole game. Fortunately, it didn't, because our defense is balled. But, you got to think about moving on. And the trade deadline is Tuesday, right? You got to think about going maybe go back and get Hayden Hurst, right? Go get a tight end. Or if not, call up Tanner Hudson, because you had him that fumbled the ball. We're not getting the production we need out of the tight end position. It's just not working. You know what I'm saying? It's not at this point. And you had a good chunk of the season. See if you can get somebody that wants to move on. See if you can go get maybe a Mike Gesicki, a Hunter Henry, maybe even a Kyle Pitts, a Hayden Hurst. You got to make a trade to make your team better, and that would make your team elite, because then you got the middle of the field open when teams want to run too deep, and that's what San Fran ran most of the day. And you see the result. Now, defensively, the numbers are not gaudy, right? You're going to look at this and be like, oh, San Fran ball. Purdy had 365 yards, a touchdown, and obviously McCaffrey had 12 runs for 54 yards, and he also had a receiving touchdown. And if you look at Kittle's numbers and you look at Ayuk's numbers, they're pretty gaudy. But for the most part, a lot of that was a garbage time. right? For the most part, the defense did good, right? They forced turnover. They had 3 turnovers in this game. 2 interceptions, as you see here, one from Jermaine Pratt, one from Logan Wilson, and they also had a fumble at the end of the game, forced fumble by Trey Hendrickson, who continues the ball out. So it was just a complete game defensively. Again, the yards, I'm more so at a point, yards is cool. You might rank, low far as statistically, which is yards, but I just like that they don't allow teams to like punch them in the mouth, right? They don't give up a lot of points. You've seen the same thing against Seattle, only gave up 13 points. They was getting up yards and some big plays, but stiffening when they got in the red zone. In the red zone, they forced a turnover, as I mentioned earlier with Jermaine Pratt, right? They stopped the run for the most part. I mean, holding what? Purdy had more rushing yards than McCaffrey. How many times are you going to say that in a real game? You're not. So this is a massive performance from Lou Anarumo, going against, I would say, a genius offensively and just play calling, scheming, and Kyle Shanahan. He got the better of him today. Obviously, players going to make plays, so I ain't concerned with that. But they did their thing, man. Only thing, probably getting a little bit more pressure than what they did. But the back line held up. Cam Taylor-Britt's coming into his own. DJ Turner's been doing a good job. He's getting more minutes as a rookie from Michigan. They just look good. Some of it, some throws, some plays they couldn't make, but overall, only 17 points, 3 turnovers. That's a good performance against a really, really elite team. And Super Bowl contender. So I give an overall grade, regardless of the yards and everything, I give them an A. It's not easy to go out in the Bay and go beat San Fran. And it also gave Purdy his first loss at home in San Francisco. So overall, great performance. Very thrilled. Keep doing your thing, Bengals. Love that win.